Another game, another dodgy VAR decision. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to centre around Manchester United versus Burnley. Now, I didn't really want to do this, but if I wanted to remain consistent this season, I of course have to call out all inconsistencies, whether they're for my team, against my team, or even, in this case, for rivals. I don't care much for Manchester United, being a Liverpool fan, as you know, but watching some of the highlights from today's games, I saw another bad VAR call in terms of handball. We're going to be talking about the decision to not award Manchester United a penalty, the VAR usage, and everything else in between in regards to the Manchester United-Burnley game that took place earlier on today, in which United were denied a penalty from Antony's cross for a handball, which was a handball in my opinion, but wasn't given by referee or by VAR. But before we get into all of that, I would like to remind you, please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things always, I'm sure to be greatly appreciated. And get involved in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That will make for great and interesting reading, I'm sure, down below. But without further ado, let's get on with it. Let's talk this VAR referee decision. Manchester United and Burnley played out a 1-1 draw earlier on today, and it was probably a fair result given the way that things were dealt with. United took the lead through a very poor defensive error from Burnley, allowed Antony to run through on goal, and he finished actually pretty well for a guy that hasn't scored a Premier League goal, I don't think, in over like a year and a half, maybe even longer than that. So he actually took his goal rather well. But in typical United fashion, the collapse was always going to be very, very quick. And it was, because in the dying stages of the game, Casemiro's misplaced header allowed a Burnley attacker to go up and challenge for the ball inside the penalty area. Wan-Bissaka won the header, but Andre Onana had come flying out. Not for the first time this season, Onana's come flying out of his goal to try and attack the ball. He's completely missed the ball and he's attacked the Burnley striker in the end. VAR called it a penalty, and I think rightfully so. And it's about time that Onana has got caught with this, because he has done it at least once or twice in the earlier rounds of the season. The penalty taker steps up, converts it very coolly, very confidently, and Burnley get a point from this big game. But a big talking point that is sort of going a little bit under the radar, I think, at least by people outside of the United fan base, is that of a penalty which should have been awarded after Antony's cross struck the arm of a Burnley defender. I don't remember the Burnley defender's name. I do apologise. I did have it remembered in here, and then I've since gone and recorded and I forgot. But it strikes the arm of the Burnley defender, and given what we have known about certain handball laws and obviously handballs that have gone against the defending team in these kinds of instances in the past, it probably should have been a penalty. Now, it's not the be-all and end-all as to why United dropped points today. That was mainly down to the performance. That was mainly down to the players, the manager, and everybody else in between. I'm not gonna scapegoat the penalty decision, the referees, the VAR, as to why United didn't win today. But it does still need to be called out regardless, because again, if we are to be consistent on this, if we are to try and get change into our game, we are to try and get the standards of referees to be at an all-time high, if we are trying to improve the usage of VAR, we of course need to call out everything and anything that does go wrong in the game, these kinds of inconsistencies. We saw the good and the bad of VAR in this game. The good being that Onana finally got caught by pretty much attacking the Burnley player, completely missing the ball and hitting the player instead. That was a stonewall penalty in my opinion, and VAR did well to obviously call that. But the bad side of VAR was to not even call out the handball, which in my opinion was handball. Antony cuts back on his left foot, goes for a cross. The Burnley defender's arm is down by his side, but it's kind of out a little bit to strike the arm and to obviously not go through into the penalty area to potentially set up a Manchester United attack from within the penalty area. How is it not handball? Given what we saw mere 7 days ago in both the FA Cup games, in which the Jack Grealish handball wasn't given, and then the same handball was given in the Manchester United game against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. How is that not a penalty? Now, again, I think it will go under the radar because although Burnley are a relegation battling side, they're not one of the big six. And although Man United are one of the big six, they're not really going for anything this season. And with other games taking place this weekend with arguably bigger talking points, such as like the collapse of Liverpool, the Manchester City against Forest tomorrow, and of course the North London derby as well tomorrow, I feel like this will get a little bit swept under the carpet when it really does again need to be called out. Because if I have people that are Man United fans calling out when Liverpool have been hard done by VAR, it's only right that we do the same thing back. And as I said earlier on this week, and as I tried to say all the time, tribalism in football can be horrible. It can be something you can't get away from, but it can be horrible. And if you want to effect change in terms of, like I said before, improvement in referee standards and improvement in VAR usage, we need to all come together on this in terms of that. And I've been obviously campaigning for that. Well, not really campaigning, but I've been calling for that all week. I did a video on Nottingham Forest and the furious statement that they put out last week in the aftermath of their defeat to Everton. And all week I had people going, well, Forest weren't the ones complaining when they went up via the Championship playoff and they had a couple of penalty decisions that didn't go for them when it actually should have done. I feel like it's a bit hypocritical. I get it. Football tribalism is stupid and it needs to be evened out more, and we need to start calling it out, whether it goes for our team, goes against our team, or goes for our rivals, or goes against our rivals. We need to call it out regardless. So I get it, but at the same time, it's still stupid. It's still stupid, and we need to all come together, and it's never going to happen. And that's why referees and VARs are going to continue to make these stupid decisions, and they're going to continue to get away from it because there's no consistency from them, and there's no consistency from fans to be on the same page on this, regardless of who it benefits or doesn't benefit in terms of this instance. So just answer me this then: what is a handball and what isn't a handball? Because I don't know anymore. I really don't know anymore. I look at that Burnley one and I go, that's a handball. I look at the Jack Grealish one last week and go, that's a handball. Both not given. I look at the Aaron Wan-Bissaka one last week. I go, that's a handball. That was given. The inconsistencies are there for all to see. And if you go back across the entirety of the season, it doesn't matter whether you're at the top of the table like Manchester City and Arsenal, or whether you're at the bottom of the table like Sheffield United, who got relegated today, or Burnley, or Luton, or Nottingham Forest. I am pretty damn confident you can find other examples of handball that was similar to this and not so similar to this, that were either given, not given, whatever the case may be. We still need to call this out. And like I say, with what I feel like how this weekend is panning out in terms of Liverpool, in terms of Arsenal, in terms of Tottenham, the North London derby, in terms of the Premier League title race, in terms of the relegation battle, especially with, like I say, Sheffield United getting relegated today, I do feel like this would get swept completely under the carpet unless we obviously call it out. It wasn't the be-all and end-all as to why United lost. I want to point that out yet again. But again, we need to call it out. I called it out a few weeks ago. United, I think they got a penalty, or they should have conceded a penalty that wasn't given, or something along their lines. I feel like it was against like a Brighton or something. I don't honestly, I can't remember the details too much, but I know I definitely did a video on United in which they benefited from a strange VAR and referee decision, and it affected the game. This, again, could have been similar. This, again, could have been different in terms of this aspect. So, again, we need to call it out. And just whilst we're on that point, before someone says it, luck balanced itself out down the line in a season. No, it does not. This is a myth. This is a lie. In terms... okay, so For certain teams, it might do. For certain teams, it might not affect them too massively. It might be a case of they finish 10th and they get a couple of decisions at the beginning of the season that go against them, and then later on down the line, they get a couple of decisions go for them, and it balances itself out in terms of quantity. That can happen. But it's very rare. It's extremely rare that you're going to get someone who will have that kind of luck and misfortune both balance itself out as the season progresses. What I will say is that in terms of what I can kind of see from this kind of thing, it doesn't balance itself out. What will happen is that you'll get a heavy dose of misfortune that will affect a game, and it will probably cost you that particular game. And then the luck later on down the line that you receive will probably be in a game in which you're 3 or 4-0 up and you receive a penalty, or you score from a free kick that shouldn't have been a free kick or a penalty. That kind of thing. That's not luck balancing itself out in terms of pure luck. That is just an element of luck. It doesn't balance itself out at all, because it wouldn't have affected the scoreline. Whether you score that penalty or not, it doesn't affect the scoreline. But if you were to get a penalty in a game that you were losing in, and it could have changed the game, or you were drawing in that game, or whatever the case may be, it could have obviously changed that game. I'm probably explaining it very terribly and very wrong, and you're probably sitting there like, what the hell is this guy on about? But I just wanted to call it out. The main bit, sorry, before I digress and go any further on rambling about whatever the hell I was rambling about, is the fact that United should have got a penalty today, and we need to call it out again, because I don't know what handball is anymore. I really, really don't know what handball is anymore. And I don't think any of you lot do either. I don't think anyone at home watching knows what it is. I don't think anyone in any stadium knows what it is anymore. We see a ball hit a hand, and regardless of whether it's down by his side in a natural position, or whatever the case may be, or whether it's up high and it's waving around, we still don't know what it is. So I just call for consistency and clarity. I call for consistency and clarity. I call for referees and VAR to do their homework and go, right, well, we gave that one last week. Was that the right decision? Because the week before we gave something similar. So this week it must be right, because we've given 2 clear examples of ones that should have been. We didn't in this one, but upon review, we've actually made a mistake there. So we'll rectify it this week by saying it is a penalty. That's all I ask. All I ask is for clarity and consistency. Or you go into the summer and you review the handball law. You change the handball law, because something has to give. You can't keep giving out these stupid laws and rules and regulations that protect your referee mates of dissent and things like that, where any kind of dissent is not tolerated, and referees can then book players for it to protect the referees. But as soon as they make a stupid decision from a law that is so unclear now that we have no idea what is or isn't a handball, what is or isn't a foul, what is or isn't a red card, whatever the case may be, we're sat there scratching our heads, and it just depends on what referee you get on the day, what kind of mood the referee is in, what kind of mood is the VAR in. It shouldn't be based on that. It should be based on pure fact. And the fact is that we as fans have no idea what the hell is going on when it comes to these types of things. We have to call it out. I've called it out here. So I'm just hoping that we don't kind of sweep this under the carpet, and we can add this to the portfolio of mistakes done by referees and VAR for this season. Because I'd imagine if we were to keep a file of it and we were to keep it somewhere, it would be a pretty hefty file. So yeah, just thought I'd call it out. Just thought I'd put it out there. Like I say, it's not the be-all and end-all why United lost today. I did think there was a couple of dodgy decisions elsewhere in the Premier League. I think Liverpool suffered with one a little bit weird. It was Anthony Taylor with Gakpo kind of goalkeeper kind of threw it out. something along them lines. I don't know. There was a couple of just weird decisions all over the place. But mainly this one, I feel like I had to call it out simply for a reason that A, it's a rival. B, I'm trying to prove a point. And I'm not just doing this just to prove a point. I'm doing this because I believe in it as well. But yeah, Man United probably hard done by that. They shouldn't have had a penalty. That they should have had a penalty, but didn't obviously get one. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever we call it. This guy, I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the Manchester United penalty appeal against Burnley today? Should it have been a penalty? Should it not have been? With the referees and VAR right to not interfere with that? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in regards to anything and everything that I talked about within this video, about Man United, about Burnley, about the penalty decision that was. I'm sure it'll make for great and interesting reading down below. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. And I'll see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. Speak to you all again very, very soon.